Time to take it to the dirt. This is Slingin Dirt, 1 hour of dirt track talk. Now, here are Ashley and David Stremme.
Good morning. It is Tuesday. We are excited. We have good racing stuff to talk about. Sorry. Our producer, Kreger, is talking in our ear about all this stuff we were talking about right before the show started. And unfortunately, we can't talk about it on the radio. But
Who we got up? Who we got coming up?
Goodness gracious. So we've got some great guests today. Scott Bloomquist is joining us after his Dirt Track World Championship 100 Gs.
Back-to-back winner?
Back-to-back winner, absolutely, making history this weekend. We have Russell Erwin. He picked up the Monster Dirt Madness 20 grand to win at Clary's. And last but certainly not least is David Reutimann. He is the builder of Beak Built Chassis. He's also the son of the legendary Buzzy Reutimann.
Figured.
Yeah.
Reason we got David on here, we figured because Buzzy was pretty hard on him, so we got to give him some...
Redeem himself slightly.
Yes.
But a great weekend of racing. We were in Portsmouth to see the Dirt Track World Championships. I'm personally torn on how the weekend went.
Why is that?
I'm probably going to be ridiculed for this, and that's okay because I'm human and I have an opinion.
Because they didn't have wings on the cars or what?
No, listen.
You get that this weekend.
Yes, I am a sprint car lover, but I just don't like the passing points format. I know it was new this year. No, listen, I'm serious.
All right.
It's hard for the fans to follow along. It's hard for me. We've done passing points before, and it is the worst thing to try to figure out, follow along. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know how the fans follow along.
Okay, well, go ahead, because then I'm going to tell you my point.
Well, go ahead. Tell me your point.
So, as a driver, it is very hard to understand. I know we were at a race earlier this year. They did 2 heat races and passing points. I understood. I drew for the first one. The second one, I'm in a whole heat with different people. I don't even know how I got there. That was very difficult to understand. The passing points... It's pretty simple. You pass cars and you win. You get X amount of points. I mean, they should have a scorecard. Fans want to keep up. I think from an entertainment value, I loved the heat races. It was a throwdown. You watched them the first couple laps. They had to get after it. You seen guys, I mean, they were on the wheel, and they got out of that car. It looked like they were riding a wild bull. I mean, it was crazy. Now, I don't like what I don't like, and I don't know how you do it. Like one heat race, I think Mason Ziegler was in it. There's like 5 Lucas Oil regulars in it, you know. Then there's another heat. I'm like, well, who's this guy that just won? Because there wasn't a lot of guys in it.
Okay, so we're about to agree with this.
So
write that down, folks.
I enjoy it from the fan side. When I was sitting in the grandstands watching the heat races, I thought the entertainment was great. Because normally heat races, you know, if they qualify or whatever, I mean, you've seen like Bloomer come from the first heat race, you know, Davenport's in there. I'm like, this is going to be a slugfest. And Davenport goes down in there, and they like 4 of them wad up. And Bloomer's like from 8th to the lead or 2nd, you know, and it was definitely different. So
I think with the passing points.
Let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
I give them credit for trying to do something different. It's entertainment. Then fans come there. The only thing I'd like to see at some tracks, and Portsmouth was very one of these tracks I'd put in the category. It was hard to watch there.
It was.
With the way the grandstands are, I want to come up with...
I don't think it was so much the grandstands, though.
I want to come up with in the corners at certain tracks. Obviously, World Finals is awesome to watch at, but they need some Lexan. You know, I look at, you look at Jimmy Johnson's car. They make Lexan windows and cup cars that survive 200 miles an hour.
What are you going to do, put tear-offs on them, though?
Yeah, put tear-offs on them and you swipe them out after some heat races.
That's the asphalt in you talking.
Listen, if
Don't
I was
be
a fan,
foolish.
I'd pay an extra $5 to be able to see a little more.
You can have a tear-off. I love it.
I'm just pissed off you forgot the umbrellas there, so I couldn't. Anyways.
So back to the passing points deal. The heats. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's all luck of the draw. I think it's garbage because in one heat you can start on the pole and have a weak heat, and then in the next heat you could start at the back and have the strongest heat of the night. So I feel like with passing points, your heat should be the same. You should just line up different.
So in my race, in the modifieds, I drew 162, or I didn't, but Kevin did. So I go out next to last to qualify. I'm in my group which is group 7. out of 8. And even if I would have won that, I can't start on the pole.
No, you
I
were
don't
in
feel
Group 8.
Group 8, whatever. The thing is there's always unfair. And I feel
Absolutely.
like sometimes it's for you and sometimes it's not.
Agreed.
It's your day or you're what are they old saying? You're either the windshield or the bug. So from a side, they had plenty of fans there. We showed up there Wednesday night and there's 200 campers.
There was a ton of people there.
So
no doubt.
I enjoyed it. Listen, it was $20 a day for pit pass because we bought it early.
No, it wasn't.
What was it then?
It was $60.
For 3 nights.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yep. Let's run the numbers. That's $20 a day.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now.
I talked to my brother who was at the Kokomo Clash, and they had 60 modifieds running for $1,000 to win, and he got 8th, got $125, and it was $40-some get in. I'm like, for one day, I got to see late models. I mean, they had 117 modifieds, I think around 100 late models. It was great for the fans. I enjoyed it. From Lucas Oil and all of them there at Portsmouth done a phenomenal job.
They do a great job
promoting that event.
Mm-hmm.
So my hats, look, they're trying stuff
I'm not trying
different.
to bash what they're doing. I mean, we're racing. They're having races. I support that 100%. I just personally don't love the passing points.
So what would you do?
Why change what we do?
Something different.
Now don't get me
people
wrong. I
didn't
don't
like-
them starting heads up. The fast guy should never start on the pole. I do
what I
believe there's
hate?
an invert of some sort
I
because
wanted
the
to
fast
know-
guy shouldn't start up front.
And this probably come from them big block cars.
Oh boy.
I need to ask Hearn or somebody. This damn Delaware restart stuff.
Yeah, I don't like
hate
that either.
stuff. But anyway, but how about Scott Bloomquist? Okay, let's say passing points, everything
He
else.
loves the
Listen,
passing points, I'm sure.
I don't necessarily. I talked to
He
a lot
did
of
this
drivers.
weekend. Boy,
Listen,
he was
his car
on
was
a
fast.
mission. Absolutely.
Him, Landers. I mean, it was a solid day. Davenport was off a little bit, and I had got information talking to Rumley that he hurt his back through the week. He had a slip disc or something, and for a lot of you fans that haven't been in a dirt car, it's rough. Like I always say, 50 laps in a dirt car is like 200 on asphalt. So, he had his ups and downs through the weekend, but I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Don O'Neill, Clint Boyer's team, I've been hard on them. Francis, and I told Francis that over the weekend. I was like, you guys got to get better. But Don O'Neill was solid all weekend. They've been working on stuff, and that's what, when I look at, R.J. Conley, Richards, Francis, Lanigan, Dennis Erb, Carrier, Eckert, they were all in a group, and it was kind of, Bobby Pierce was in there. Pierce and Moran were wild. I was just like, calm down, run the bottom for a little bit.
His one restart there was pretty
They, in the
pretty
feature,
stellar.
even Bobby, he I don't know, he said he cut the right rear down. He burned it off. But anyways, there was a lot of them so close, but O'Neill was there with Landers and Bloomer, or I should say with Landers. That's all he had, but my hat's off that sweet Bloomquist cars. I mean, all them guys there, they were strong, and you can really tell. It'd be neat to talk to Scott, over this season. Jared's program's got a lot stronger, how it's helped Scott's, how that whole program's working together.
And a huge kudos to a guy we've had on the show a couple times now, Jacob Hawkins. He picked up the modified feature win.
Casey Burdett was second.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Casey credit because he's the only other guy who passed cars other than me. It was hard. It was
hard passing. A big shout out to actually one of our good friends, Tyler Evans. He's 16 years old. He put it on the front row of the Dirt Track World Championship race this weekend. And he put on a heck of a show for you if you were paying attention. Yeah, for 8 laps. He was high, wide, and handsome, as we like to say. And unfortunately, eventually that bit him. But major kudos to him.
Somebody else, Jimmy Owens, he was pretty good, had a bad weekend, broken motor. Chris Ferguson, they were struggling a little bit early. He went to Carolina Speedway on Thursday night, tested, drove up there. I mean, and he's got another guy with a very, very small budget. He won the non-qualifier race. Somebody else that was very frustrated and ended up, I was standing there talking to Eckert, and he's driving out with Satterley. He was just struggling all weekend, went back to PA, and you could see the frustration. Jeep Van Wormer come down. He was okay, but, again, you can see when you go run with them guys, the really, really good guys who has their program that's on and off. The other thing is, I'm going to give a shout-out to Billy Moyer, was 58 yesterday, was his birthday.
Oh, yeah?
58
Happy
years old.
birthday, Billy.
That's pretty cool. So, anyways, he ended up, I don't know where, folks. I was trying to look it up. I don't know where. I know he passed Terry Phillips on the last lap. It was out in Missouri. They were racing. And then Billy Moyer Jr. was up at Duck River, had a new car there, started 18th, finished 5th. And, there was quite a bit going on.
Well, to talk about the center steers real quick, Friesen is continuing his win streak. He picked up the king of the can at Penn Can. They actually sit on a toilet seat there in Victory Lane.
Really?
Yeah.
They sit on a shitter?
Yep.
Jeez, out. Hey, but we do want to clear something up because I had said this. I seen Friesen disqualified.
Oh,
so forth. This is the, what was the guy's name?
John Michael.
John Michael Friesen was not.
He was in the sportsman class.
Yeah.
He was disqualified, not Stewart.
Not Stewart. Stewart still had.
That's your problem. You just read the headline, and
So
then
did
you come
everybody
running,
else.
and you're like, Stewart Friesen was disqualified. No, he wasn't.
That's where they need to clarify because there was other people, too,
They
telling
want
me,
you to read the story. That's why you
Yeah, it
click on
sucked.
it. Exactly. Anyhow, we have Scott Bloomquist up next, your Dirt Track World Championship winner here on Slingin Dirt on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable anytime, anywhere.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans are built with a U-shaped construction, so they give you more room where you need it. And their 4-way flex technology moves with you for all-day comfort.
In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap in the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
This is Slingin Dirt with the Stremmes. Our guest on the line now picked up, he's actually the first one to pick up back-to-back Dirt Track World Championships is Scott Bloomquist. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Hey, doing good. How you doing?
We're doing well. How about yourself?
Well, I'm just actually out here in the shop doing a little painting this morning.
I hear you. Monday morning.
You got to be tired after giving that ass whooping because that was a pure ass whooping there Saturday.
Well, we definitely seem to have our program pretty well together at that place, and that doesn't hurt anything. I mean, we've won a lot of races there. The ones we didn't win, we usually were leading them and dropped out of them for some reason. But, yeah, we have to track a lot better, too, now. You know, you never used to be able to run quite that wide on it. So, there's a lot of racetrack out there, even though it rubbered up at the end. There's good racing all weekend.
You talk about your program and how things have really stepped up. I have heard somebody this weekend say that Portsmouth is the house that Scott built because you're so good there. But your teammate, Jared Landers, finished with a P2 this weekend. He's really stepped up his game as well. How does that help you and, your correlation between each other to find the right selection each weekend?
Well, a lot of times, what we've done is just keep him on what I know is safe and not get too far out with him. And I'll take myself sometimes even out of contention, trying new things, and that sometimes hurts me. But when I do learn something pretty good, that I'm sure of, then we'll put it on his car. But yeah, after his Knoxville win, I felt that he was probably going to settle in and start driving a little less aggressive and saving his stuff a little bit more. And I think they showed up at the Dirt Track World Championship also. That was kind of a good exclamation mark on our win.
Do you feel with Jared? I mean, I know I've watched over this year, and his just as a career, he's matured more. He's just very in detail of knowing his car and what he needs to do through the race. Do you feel, and you've worked with different guys before that have had your cars. Do you feel it's really helping your program?
Well, it absolutely does. Like I say, he drives he drives hard all the time, and he's giving it everything he's got, and sometimes that hurts him. But a lot of times we'll be off a little bit, and then here he is out there setting fast time, and it's like, well, I guess it wasn't the car, Maybe I need to think of driving a little harder, or just do something a little different, or just kind of look and study, but maybe a little different on shocks and compare the cars a little bit. That helps me. It's just good to have a gauge stick nearby that 100%. With some of the other guys that I've worked with, I wasn't as close. We're always parked beside each other, and they do exactly what I say, and if they even think of doing something outside of what I've said, they run it by me first, and so I always know everything about their car also. And we ended up having to get in their car, their backup car out at Wheatland, and didn't have to adjust nothing. Went out and started in the back and came to second. And the cars are the same, and I think they've got the confidence and are sure that what I told them I'd do this year, I've done 100%, and they're real happy with their stuff. And it's nice for me to have something that I can look at as a gauge stick all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's phenomenal what you've built, and to see everyone be successful is amazing. I want to talk a little bit about the race because you were stellar in the heat races. It's the new format, the passing points. I personally am not a huge fan of it. What is your opinion on the passing points?
I'm not. I don't have a problem with it if you get a racetrack. I see the potential exists. Just we've all seen where racetracks get where you can't pass, and the racetrack was exceptional. I think over the weekend, if you were fast, you were going to get to the front, and but that's not always the case. So there could be times that it really could end your weekend. You get out there and the conditions just be not fit for racing to the level that you saw this weekend, and let's say you end up, you start 7th or 8th or 9th in a heat race, and you might get by 1 or 2, and that's not going to set you up for the weekend that you want. I mean, I think we could have won the race starting back farther in the field, but I don't know that we could have if we had started, way in the back, just because of the conditions of the track rubbering up, about halfway through. It made it really difficult for anyone to pass after that. But so I think it could really have an effect on the outcome of the weekend, and that's not what anybody really wants to see, is somebody get that kind of deficit and that they can overcome.
With this big win, and we see a lot with on the NASCAR side of things, Jeff Gordon retiring, Tony Stewart, Billy Moyer said that he's going to step back, and we know you're not going to step back, but as you're getting older, do you see yourself? You got your chassis deal. Do you ever see yourself getting involved with a racetrack, owning or managing or something? Because you've been to so many, and your knowledge of the dirt and the programs. Is that something you see in your future, like way down the future? I mean, nothing close.
Well, that's something I have thought about and discussed a couple of times. That what I would really enjoy doing is I have studied. I mean, I study things probably more than I should, but I've studied every racetrack that we've gone to in my whole career, and the pluses and minuses, ups and downs to the place, and just any time, just like the Charlotte Dirt Track, and what problems, which they don't have a lot of problems there, but there's always things. I mean, just from where you do the grandstands to how you design the racetrack. I'd like to design a facility, and I'd really like to design a racetrack, and what I've got in mind, and I've thought about it for years, would be very difficult to set a car up for, just because of some of the things that would get thrown at you. But I think that it would be just awesome for racing, difficult for a guy, a chassis, kind of get his act together on. But that would be. I think it'd be difficult enough. You might as well call the place hell, and then everyone could just say they're going to hell that weekend.
That's hilarious. I love it.
That is pretty good.
That being said, of all the places that you have traveled to, what would be the track that's at the top of your list?
I've probably got I've got 3 or 4 that. I obviously have to throw in Eldora and Knoxville, Iowa, and there's another few after that, but you got Magnolia down in Mississippi. That's a good place. Batesville, I really enjoy racing there. Even up here at Bulls Gap in East Tennessee here, and some people hate Tazewell, Tennessee, but I kind of like it. It's very intense and probably the highest banked dirt track I've ever seen, or any track I've ever seen. Always some real exciting racing, but you better have elbows up and be crisp and sharp. I've heard more really good drivers that go there and say, "This is just too fast," And I've always liked anywhere that's real fast. And I'll tell you another one is the one in Nebraska that we've won the last 2 years, where they have the Silver Dollar race in Lincoln. That's a really good racetrack out there, and the Kosiskis do a really good job with it.
So what's something that and as I was sitting here asking you this, I know you're so intense into all racing. I mean, my wife's on me all the time. We need to go on vacation. We need to do this. I'm like, look, I'd rather go to a racetrack. And she's like, you need to relax. I'm like, relaxing to me is working on the car. But what is something that maybe people don't know? Do you go fishing or hunting, or do you do anything else?
No,
or?
I actually, I really am an avid. I love fishing. Actually, I told the guys, I said, here about 4 o'clock, I'm going to evaporate for a couple hours. And this time of year, I really enjoy it. The lake I live on here, Cherokee Lake, they've got stripers in it. And this time of year, they get up on the surface, and you can fish for them with topwater plugs. And
wow!
The biggest I've caught is 25 pounds. But anywhere from probably 10 to 18 pounds is kind of an average of what you can count on catching when you can find them. But I fly also. I've got a Piper Cub, and that's one of the things I'll do. I'll get up in the airplane and I'll fly over the lake and just look for where the fish are hitting on the surface. And once I've got them spotted, then I'll get the boat. If I can't find them, I stay home.
Sounds like cheating fishing.
I like that.
A little bit.
I like that.
Yeah, that's why it's scouting.
I like that
Saves
part.
me a lot of traveling on the lake.
I hate that if you go out there and drop something. I'm like, man, all right, I've had enough. I want something to hit. I've never thought about that.
Well, you can this time of year, because the water cools off, and then you get the cool evenings and the sunny days. It brings the bait fish to the surface, and the stripers, they have real bright white bellies, so you can see them from an airplane rolling in the shad. And
wow!
They're easy to spot. Once I see a few of them, it's time to get the boat.
I would have never guessed that Scott Bloomquist was an avid fisherman. That's awesome.
Well, and I used to really enjoy surfing, but that's I went to Australia 5 years in a row, and the first 6 weeks, and really went more for the surfing than I did the racing. And but I'm getting a little old for that. It's a good way to get worked pretty hard.
Yeah, and plus,
especially when you ride the bigger waves, they can punish you pretty bad. Take some conditioning to get ready for that. But that's probably the thing that as far as anything and everything I've ever done, that I've enjoyed the most, and it's the most challenging is surfing. But I got into water skiing, and I used to golf. My shoulders are kind of in bad shape, and I don't have the 3 months to get surgery done for recovery, and I'm just still carrying on and living with it. But one of these days I'll definitely have to get some surgery and get back. I'd like to start golfing again. I enjoy that.
Well, I'm sure. And you said golfing?
Yeah, I like
really.
I've had a hole in one even.
Is that with a cool down a chest
Oh, that's
full
for
of.
the cooler.
Yeah, okay,
On the back
okay,
of the golf
okay.
cart,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. That's my kind of
Have
golfing.
a cooler, and a lot of mulligans.
Yeah, that's my kind of best man's ball. I mean, that's good. Because I'm sitting there going, wait a minute.
Too.
I understand the fishing because you can get out there and you think about some setups or different things, and relax. But the golfing
That's absolute. That's what one thing fishing is. It's just calming, and it really gets your thought, going on a lot of things.
Yep.
Works out a lot of things. I've had guys that work for me that said, "Oh, we're going to win this week. He's been fishing twice."
Well, we
hilarious.
know
love
you
it.
had the plane in the sky last week, and we're scouting all them, and because it was a great result. I know. I'm telling you, I left 40 laps in. I was like, I'm tired watching this because this is terrible. And Jared, he's sitting back there, and he's driving his guts out. He's doing a great job. And here's poor Don O'Neill, who's having the best run he's had this year. And I'm like, he ain't got nothing for them two. I'm out of here. See y'all later. So we beat traffic. But congratulations again. And it was really cool getting to see you win back-to-back. And good luck to you coming up.
Well, Scott, real quick, Dirt Track World Finals, 2 weeks. What else is on your plans? You finished up P2 in the Lucas Oil Championship. Is there anything else on schedule?
We're going to run Phoenix City, Alabama next weekend. Like I said, this weekend we're taking off, and just I've always said anytime there's a race like this, the Dream or the World, they should almost not have a race the next weekend, just so you don't have to race. So you can just enjoy not having somebody kick your ass the next weekend.
Oh, goodness gracious. I love it.
That's a good way to.
Well, Scott, you're always a pleasure to talk to, and congratulations on writing history in the Dirt Track World Championship this weekend.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Thanks for being on the show today. We appreciate it. What?
I never thought.
I know, a fisherman, right? I
never.
see, when he first said that, all I see is Scott Bloomquist and hip waders. That's all I saw right away.
Oh, my.
That was the mental
I thought
image
him
I got.
in a like homemade flat pontoon boat, one seat, like yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
up next we have Russell Erwin, your $20,000 Clary's winner, here on Slingin Dirt on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com. Need fantasy racing advice on picking your team for the upcoming Sprint Cup race? Motor Racing Network's fantasy experts are here to help you with the inside line.
I like the fiery Brad Keselowski, and here's why.
Join Tyler Burnett and Robbie Mays every Thursday on the Inside Line for in-depth analysis to give you a leg up on the competition.
I'm really curious to see if they can continue that dominance.
The Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show, Thursdays in the Media Center at MRN.com.
Regan Smith joins us on the guest line. Congratulations.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday with Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Take us through what happened.
Alex is an extremely good road racer. He actually got in pretty deep into the carousel on that last lap, and I don't know if he got a little loose, but when he did, he got checked up, and it allowed me to get to the back bumper there. And once I got to the back bumper, I think the rest is pretty much history. Everybody saw what happened there, and we were able to come away with the win.
MRN Motorsports Monday, every Monday at noon at MRN.com. This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back. We're the Stremmes, and you're listening to Slingin Dirt. With us now, he is your Monster Dirt Menace, 20,000 richer. He's your Clary's winner, Russell Erwin. Welcome to the show, Russell.
Hey, how y'all doing? Thanks for having me on.
We're doing well, and apparently you are too. Is this the biggest win of your career?
Yes, it is.
Well, that's. I was like, when they were talking about late model races this weekend, you had the Ultimate Series going on. You had, there's a big race at Carolina, King of Carolinas. Then you also had, obviously Portsmouth. And then Clary's throws in this 20,000. I'm like, wow, man, there's races all over. And that's the first thing I tuned into is to see who won. And it was no surprise. You've had a very good season in the late models. And I know you more for modifieds, but talk a little bit about your late model season.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a great season. We're back in our own equipment this year. Driving from family-owned car, and and it's definitely, just something I wanted to get back to doing, and just, that way I could, really focus on what was going on with the car a whole lot better. And, we won some big races this year. That's really what we focused on is with that limited late model is really just running the stuff that's paying the better money, and not run just weekly shows just to be out there racing, but just focus more on, where the better money was at, and, just to help our season go along if we could do good in that stuff.
Now, I've got to ask, I know you live in Virginia, but I've looked at your schedule, and most of it is in North Carolina. Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, that steel block late model stuff just pays a lot better money down there in that Carolina area, and it's, that's just where the big money is for that steel block stuff, really in the entire country. That's really where you want to be at, and being that I know a lot of those tracks, that Ultimate Tour travels up into Carolina, and we got that supercar as well. So it allows me to go to the racetracks that I'm kind of familiar with, and run my super, and just kind of get my feet wet in that, and really just try to break out into that super scene, hopefully within the next year or two, and get to doing that full time.
So because what tracks are up there in Virginia? You got Virginia Motor Speedway. What other ones are up there?
You got East Side Speedway and Winchester Speedway, Natural Bridge.
Yeah.
But as far as that steel block late model goes, there's not real good money up my way for running that stuff.
Yep.
There's a lot of 5,000 and 10,000 to win steel block races down there in that Carolina area.
Mm-hmm.
So we just choose to stick down there and kind of run, where there's a lot better money that you can race for.
I was reading your bio, and I found this very interesting. You didn't have a typical start to your racing career. It wasn't go-karts. It wasn't micro sprints or anything like that. It was BMX racing.
Say what?
I had two wheels on a
Really?
bicycle.
Yeah, and we started there when I was young, and that's what my dad got us into racing BMX bikes, and we traveled all up and down the East Coast, running that stuff, and myself and all my brothers, we were all pretty successful doing it.
That's awesome.
And as we got older, it was just one of them things where that stuff is just you got to be in the gym working out all the time, and you got to be pretty physically fit to continue to do that, on that kind of a level. And it was, you have to devote so much time to that to be good. And, I guess I just kind of grew up a little bit and got a little wild in my teenage years or whatever, and we got away from that. My brothers got into racing cars, and I just kind of watched them do that stuff, and really, I had a lot of interest there, but I guess you could say, I was a little bit too wild and crazy, and my dad really didn't want to put me in a race car. And when you decide you want to settle down a little bit, and we'll put you in a car. And I didn't get into driving cars until 2005.
Wow.
Late 20s. So it started real late, I guess you can say, and I kind of look back on it now. I wish we had started a whole lot sooner. I think we could have been farther along at this point. But I'm happy with the success we've had in a short period of time.
So what do you see yourself, you talk about the late model and running through the Carolinas, coming up into January, February, you have Golden Isles, you have Screven, Volusia. Do you see yourself doing anything during speed weeks?
We've talked about it for sure. Being we're just, kind of a small team, I don't have either one of my crew guys are not full-time crew guys. They pretty much, they help me at the racetrack. That car is, I maintain the car and do everything on the car myself during the week. And both of those guys got full-time jobs, so it's hard to take off and just be going racing like that. But we've talked about it, and it's something that we're thinking about doing, maybe coming down and spending a week, just kind of picking a week where we can get some good racing in, where we feel like we would be competitive, and I don't want to jump in too far over my head and not be successful and kind of, ruin my chances to go further, in the dirt late model scene.
I'm sure you'd be just fine going down there and doing some stuff.
But I commend you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough. I mean, that's what I tell people all the time. Like, I was talking to a modified series yesterday, and they were like, hey, we got 4 races here. Then next week we were talking about doing another 4 or 5. I go, time out. These guys got jobs, and people have to think about that where it's hard to take time off. I mean, don't you have your race and supply business? Is that yours?
Yes. Myself and my brother own that, and we do the modified stuff, and we're a dealer for Larry Shaw race cars, and that's pretty successful in that in our region. We have a lot of guys in our stuff around here that they're all pretty successful in their stuff, and we definitely appreciate all their business. That them guys definitely allow me to do what I like doing.
Hey, why? And I'm gonna interrupt my wife here because she was getting ready to say something, but. Since you have your customers and you're into modifieds, and I know a couple have ventured up into Pennsylvania, but this weekend they have a race at Port Royal Speedway. They're trying to get modifieds bigger into Central PA, because when you talk about modified, they think of a
center steer.
Block.
Yeah, big block center steer, or one that is a E-mod that's like, what I'm talking about, one that's like
it's like a sport mod. It's really limited.
So. If any of your customers they're not doing nothing this weekend, they can shoot up there, try to boost that area, because I know Path Valley, Bedford. I know there's some guys from the Virginia. I think one of your customers has been going up there and doing very well. So
we actually have a couple customers that have run. I guess that's a Mid-Atlantic modified deal this weekend there at Port Royal, and we actually one of my customers has won the championship in that. He's never won a race until this year. He won his first race and won the championship in the same year.
Awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. And we got a couple other guys that have kind of ventured up that way and run some of the Mid-Atlantic races. And they'll, from talking to them, they're definitely, looking forward. They're going to be up there this weekend. And I know you got, a bunch of your guys that are going up, and I think yourself's going up as well.
Yeah, that's what people are like, why are you going up there? I'm like, well, trying to make it a little better, because I'm passing like about 3 big paying shows, but we're going to go have fun. And I know you have a lot of passion in the modifieds, because every time we go to County Line or to the eastern side of North Carolina, there's a lot of your cars over there. And it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks there. I was like, hey, he could get some of his guys to go up. So.
You're not telling the whole story, though. It is my home track. It's where I grew up. My dad raced sprint cars there. So
they got them push start cars.
That's another reason why we're headed there this weekend.
We're going to be spending about an hour out of the whole event watching cars get pushed off.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
But.
Anyhow, if you're just joining us, Russell Erwin on here. Russell, I want you to tell us, you talked about your family business, the Erwin Racing Supply. What does your typical work week look like before you head off racing?
Well, there's times where it's pretty busy with customer stuff. I have to find time to juggle my own stuff in there. So it's, we're usually in the shop till 10 to 11 o'clock just about every night of the week, because like I said, we have customer cars that we have to, those guys come first. I have to make sure those guys are, have a car to race every weekend. And so I spend my days working on their stuff, and then I usually spend my evenings working on my own stuff, getting my own stuff ready to go.
It's funny how I sound like I'm listening to myself, because people think you work on your own car all day long. Oh, that guy's got all week to work on his car. He's no wonder why he wins races. And it's like, no, you have to work on everybody else's car. But I commend you for it.
A lot of people just are like, man, that's the dream job to have. You get to work on race cars all day, and you spend all that time on your own stuff. And I'm like, I don't get me wrong. I love what I do. I enjoy this. This is, what I've always wanted to do, but it's no different than anybody else's job. I go to work, I work on other people's stuff, and their stuff comes before my own.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put him on a spot here a little bit, because I listening to him. He's very intelligent and doing and how he's been around racing. So if you're in charge of modified racing in the Carolinas, Virginia, what's one of the things that you would do?
And crickets.
No. To be honest, I don't really know. I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
Well, that is fair. I'd like to see them get all on the same page for one with some. like that Virginia Motor Speedway. I'd love to go up there, but they got all kinds of different stuff. And I'm like,
they're just. I mean, that is the one thing. It would be nice to see, the racetracks, these different series, every one of them get on a unified set of rules. So you're not having to change so much to go from one place to the next, having to buy different tires, different shock packages, and there's so many different things that everybody's got going on that they think, well, this is what's going to make modified racing better. This is what's going to make it grow. And it's really, to be honest, I don't think that that's what modified racing needs. I think it needs unity.
Yep.
Everybody needs to get on the same page as each other and agree on a set package, and everybody get on it.
Yeah.
That's really, I think that's what'll help modifieds grow, bigger in this area.
And you see it in the IMCA world. They're all, where they go, it's all the same. Late models are, like this weekend. Lucas Oil rolls into Portsmouth. There was Conley's, R.J. Conley, a bunch of local guys. All they do is put a right rear tire on them. Like, and tires, they're disposable items anyway. So, it was it was pretty good. But I'm in agreement with you and everything. So we got to take a break here. But
real quick, Russell, limited late models are at Tazewell this weekend. You headed there?
No, we're actually. This weekend, there's a limited late model race at Fayetteville Motor Speedway. It's a 100-lapper.
Oh, wow.
It pays $10,000 to win.
Oh,
so
perfect.
That's where we'll be this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt.
5,000 more reasons to go to Fayetteville there.
That's exactly right. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you'll pick up another W.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you being on the show, Russell. Thanks.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Right.
Love that guy.
Yeah, it's
I didn't even know who he was until today.
I've always seen him at track and said hi to him. Never really spoke a lot, been busy, but he was always very upbeat. And I know I see him, he's busy with his Erwin Racing Supply business and all stuff they do. So I can't wait for this next guy.
Busy. David Reutimann joins us next here on Slingin Dirt on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable anytime, anywhere.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans are built with a U-shaped construction, so they give you more room where you need it. And their four-way flex technology moves with you for all-day comfort.
In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
There's a more economical way to travel, and that's with the Tom Johnson Camping World RV. Whether you're heading for excitement at the track or serenity in the mountains, get there for less and you can go more often. Find the RV that fits your lifestyle and your budget from anywhere in the country at TomJohnsonCamping.com. With available nationwide delivery and one of the largest inventories in the country. Check out our locations in the Blue Ridge Mountains, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, or online at TomJohnsonCamping.com.
This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We're your hosts, Ashley and David Stremme. Joining us now. Why are you giggling?
You're like, I'm just here just kind of for support and get yelled at, I guess.
Support.
Go on, though.
I'm here for support. Oh, my goodness gracious. David Reutimann, welcome to the show. Bless. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. You guys sound like you're having an awful good time today.
The breaks on this show are phenomenal. They can't play that on the air, but it's always a good time with my husband.
So I wanted to make sure we got you on the show because we've had your dad on here a couple times, and it was really cool getting to talk to him last week. I was following along on pictures you were posting on social media of him up at Syracuse and everything else. What was it like going up there with him?
Oh, that was a cool experience. I mean, Dad was fortunate enough to win that race the first few years they had it, and obviously being there for the final one was a cool experience. I mean, I just stood back there and watched and kind of took it all in, and then heck, he might as well have been, Dale Jr. walking in that place. I mean, every 5 steps somebody wants to stop him and have an autograph or something. And I'm just, it was cool to see the people that could identify with him, even people that were a lot younger that probably had never even seen him turn a lap, but had just heard about Buzzy Reutimann. It was actually cool, and it was a nice experience. I'm glad we were able to be there.
So it went from, oh, that's David Reutimann's dad, to that environment is, hey, that's Buzzy's son over there.
Exactly. That's exactly how it is. And you stand by. Actually, I ended up being his PR guy for the weekend. I had to make sure he was at his appearances where he needed to be, and make sure he had his enough Sharpies to sign autographs and the right color ones and all that stuff that. So I'm not sure I got a passing grade on that deal, but we got through it.
You had your work cut out. I will say
yes,
that.
I did.
Because he will hold court anywhere. I always enjoy talking to him.
So he won in 72 and 73. You were pretty young then. Did you actually get to see him land in victory lane?
No, because I was born in 70. So yeah, too early to remember. But I do remember, him racing several other times at Syracuse and being there, and he came close several more years to winning that deal, and wasn't able to close the deal. And obviously, he about killed himself as well there in a bad wreck around, I think it was 1984, 85, right in that range. So, yeah, he's kind of had the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows of that place, and that's kind of what that place can deliver from time to time.
So he told us the story of he was a little concerned about pacing the field and having the thing shut off in front of everybody. And he said you had the car running, waiting for him just in case it happened. What was the best story that you had coming out of that weekend with your dad?
Yeah, I mean, I think as one of the deals, I told him, I was like, Pop, I said, when they're, when you're pacing the field, when they're getting ready to wave you off, I said, how about floating that thing off down into turn 1 there one time? And, kind of hanging it out a little bit, I mean, and he said, he goes, I'll go down there and, there'll be 4 wide behind me and I'll spin out and I'll wreck the whole field. I said, well, if that happens, I said, I'll have the rental car waiting. I just whip out there and get you and we'll get out of there before anybody knows what happened. But, and again, there was a ton of good stories, for sure. But I mean, just the sheer volume of people, that, were around there, and some guys that, I keep forgetting my dad's right at, pushing 75 years old. And I see some of the other guys that he raced against that are younger than him, haven't quite held up quite as well as he has. And it's good to see Dad still in good shape. And I think, being behind the wheel, I think David and I have talked about it on numerous times, him being behind the wheel on a regular basis, I think keeps him looking young.
Oh,
Absolutely.
He is. That's what
agree.
people, they don't understand how competitive, and he still wins a lot of races. I mean, I remember my first dirt experience, we went up there to Macon, Illinois, and I'm like, oh, Buzzy's here. This is going to be cool to watch, a little bit. And then I'm like, he put on an ass whooping. I mean, he was out there, and I'm like, whoa. And talk a little bit about, I mean, I know he's still racing, and he says you won't give him a new car, and you don't buy him that many tires and stuff. But with his program down there and him going, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I ended up being with a car owner, which I've talked about, something I never necessarily wanted to be in my entire life was a car owner, or a race car builder, and I ended up being both, at the same time. And I actually leaned on him. I said, you need to try and lean on Stremme to get on that lethal house car deal,
He hasn't hit me up. I was kind of with him though. I was like, hey, they got that race in December, that charity race you got going on. When is that?
That's actually going to be November 21st. Is going to be on a Saturday, so the weekend before Thanksgiving. The Reutimann Memorial Race down at East Bay Raceway Park, and it's actually a great event. We had it last year in remembrance of my Uncle Dale and my grandfather, who were actually both killed actually on towing a race car on the way to the racetrack, Golden Gate Speedway.
Oh wow.
Before I can even remember, really.
Yeah.
And both killed by a drunk driver, as well as my Uncle Dale's childhood buddy, Gordon Stone, who was, they were only 18, 19 years old at the time, and all three of them killed at the same time by a drunk driver. So we have that memorial race. So it's a cool race. I hate memorial races because you're generally, because that's just what it is. Somebody's gone way too soon, or somebody that was important. But it's nice to be able to, remember them and have a race to kind of commemorate what was going on in their lives.
Now, was that because Wayne that runs sprint cars, was that his father, or was that any relation?
Yeah, you have Wayne Reutimann Sr., which is my dad's brother.
Okay.
And then you have Wayne Reutimann Jr., which is obviously my uncle's son. He raced sprint cars and some Silver Crown stuff, and still races late models from time to time as well. And there's it just, I think probably a lot like your family, David. We got cousins and nephews, and I got my aunt. She raced some too back in the day, and they've all been behind the wheel at some point or another.
So where does, because your dad was very hard on you and Brian Patty, and Brian Patty obviously, he's a crew chief, very successful, but he said you guys bring down this cheated up cars. So where does Brian, because he grew up down there with you, and he actually got you into what was the Busch Series or Xfinity Series now?
Yeah, it was. I mean, he was from the same hometown there in little town of Zephyr Hills, and we kind of grew up together. He was younger than me, so my cousin Sean, who always helped me, I think you remember Sean. He spotted for me in the Cup Series and the Nationwide Series. They were buddies in school because they were younger, and Sean comes dragging him in there, and so Brian's looking around, and the next thing you know, he's coming to the shop with Sean, and then he's helping me do stuff, and next thing you know, he's doing more and more and more. Then he's hanging bodies on the cars, and then he's doing sheet metal, and found out he had a real knack for it, and next thing you know, he's kind of running the program for me, and he and myself and Sean and a couple other kids, we go all over the place, all over Florida, and race and have a good time and win and really cocky and arrogant and all those things you are when you're young, and had a good time. And but Brian, as the trend would suggest, he would always build these radical things and look at the rule book briefly and then build something. And I'm like, man, that's not even close to what the rule says. He said, yeah, but the rule doesn't say you can't do this. And obviously that's what you need to be a Cup crew chief at that level, is you always need to look in the gray area. And he's been looking in the gray area for a lot of years.
So he didn't really want to get in the seat. He left that all to you.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily want to drive. His deal was, building the cars and making cool stuff and being part of the program. And he's driven a little bit, and the results have been where he should probably stay on the pit box as opposed to getting behind the wheel. He's not had a good run of it. I think he's backed a couple in, and he's realizes that his strong point is not driving. His strong point is preparing the cars and tuning on them.
Yeah. So these days you're building, and you've been doing it for a couple of years now, the Beak Built chassis. Tell the folks a little bit about what you've been doing, what's coming up on your plate.
I was just we're trying to build some cars, trying to outrun them freaking lethal things. You can't hardly beat those things anymore. So I've been trying to do that, and just build some cars. I'm a small operation myself, and one of the guy, Kyle Anderson, he helps me out and build some cars. And we're just building cars and getting ready to go to PRI. Getting the car ready to go to PRI, the trade show deal there, and put one on display. And just that's pretty much it. Actually, coming back from a horse show with my daughter. I
was going to ask you about that.
Up here in Ohio. So we've been a little bit of horses, a little bit of dirt racing, and no shortage of ways to spend money on this side of the fence, Dave. I'm telling you.
So are you? Because I keep up with David on social media and watching stuff, and I got on him, and we were down at the PBR rodeo watching, and you talk about going to these horse shows. Are you wearing boots yet?
No, I don't own a pair of boots yet, and
how is that?
I can't afford them, Dave. I actually got holes on my shoes right now that I'm wearing driving down the road.
But your daughter is always dressed to the T on her horse.
He sounds just like his dad right now. His dad's same way. Exactly. I know where you get it. So
his fashion is incredibly important in this horse show.
That's exactly right, and it's not cheap.
Yes.
It is not cheap at all. No.
You've picked the two sports that are probably the worst on the pocketbook.
But I got to say this, and I'm going to brag about him. And for the people that were at PRI last year and that will be there this year, I know you'll probably be in, the AFCO booth?
We'll actually be in the iBox Springs booth this year. Yeah.
The iBox Springs. But you had two cars there last year, which were beautiful. And folks, I would tell them, I'm like, you're not going to race that, are you? And you're like, yep. I'm like, well, take off. I mean, it was immaculate.
Like, I've said the same thing. And for listeners who don't get to go to PRI, and I'm a sprint car girl, but every car that I saw there, David, yours by far was just the
detail.
Just the little details, the rear end and the
wrap on the axle
the wrap
tubes.
on the axle tubes. I mean, you spared nothing.
Yeah.
That thing was beautiful.
Well, thank you, and that means a lot because you guys build some great looking race cars yourself, and you know how PRI is. You do stuff that you normally wouldn't do on a race car because it's not going to hold up very well in real life, real life scenarios. But it's a lot of fun to be able to do that. But you're right, there is added expense and added time with all those things, and but yeah, it's good to. I don't know if I go there to sell cars or I go there for my ego. I'm not really sure which one I go there for because it's good to go there and have somebody come up and tell you your car looks good. But like David said, you go race the thing and then it's like, wow, it's not so nice anymore.
Well, I can't believe you raced it. I was like, take them parts off, put some other ones on. But so with I know you've been running modifieds because me and you had a heck of a battle out at Carolina Speedway. And you've hit and miss shows. Are you gonna? We have the Reutimann Memorial. Is there any other races you're gonna run or speed weeks or anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't obviously trying to get some cars ready to for PRI and stuff like that. And we'll do the Memorial race and then we'll do speed weeks down in Florida there. At least start out doing the races at East Bay and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I don't think we'll probably get over to Blues or anything like that. We'll probably end up having to go back and go to work. And I'm sure there's some horse shows in the future as well, as far as because I mean, realistically, and maybe the travel and everything that's involved with the cup stuff and all those things. And there's a lot of years that I missed a lot of horse shows and a lot of time with my daughter and my family. And I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm going to go as often as I can and see her and support her the way that it's supported me over the years. And it's just going to definitely put a crimp in my racing. But heck, I've made a lot of laps. I can step back and watch her and. Because before long she's going to be in college and she's not going to be hanging out with me anymore. So, or at least not as often. So
You'll
I'm
be sitting
get
there
as much mileage as I can.
You'll be sitting there on the porch with the gun when she's.
Oh yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for
it's
that
coming.
At all.
It's coming.
David, you say that as you have.
Oh yeah, I
knowledge
experienced
of
it with going to see her dad. I was like, oh shit, he has a bunch of guns. So, anyways, hey, I want to commend you again on your dad and what he's done because people they don't understand what he's accomplished over his years of racing. And again, we appreciate you being on the show, and we'll have you back on here in the future.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, bye.
I love it.
Apple doesn't far fall.
No,
from
it
the tree.
does not.
Great guy.
Notice he didn't talk too much
what's-
about him not getting his dad a race car.
Yeah, I'll tell you, folks, what he is, and David and I talk often of people go, hey, the cup race and this and that, and it is very true. He's been going to horse shows.
Mhm.
It's awesome. It's just the pressure's off and doing stuff. People don't understand. It's
You get
relaxing.
to enjoy life
so
a little bit.
he goes to have dirt racing just how I do. You go to have fun, and maybe you'll build some stuff here and there, but definitely, I wish he had the roofs on so we could watch that go down to Reutimann Memorial. But
Well, upcoming races this weekend. The Bulldog Battle at the Juniata, sponsored by Bulldog Rear End. Super thanks at Port Royal Speedway this weekend. Super Dirt Car Series. It is their last show before the Dirt Track World Finals at Weedsport Speedway. The Clash is at Cherokee. Golden Isles and Kentucky Lake.
the Clash is the blue-gray race, right?
I believe
I think
so, yes.
It's going to be a good race.
Ultimate as at Henry Counter Motorsports Park. Florence. Wing Nation is up next with our friends Steve and Kendra. Thanks
and
for
hopefully
joining
they found
us
a motor.
today.
They found a
I don't
motor
know.
for
Later
Stuart
today,
Friesen.
you can find Slingin Dirt in the Media Center at mrn.com.
This has been Slingin Dirt with Ashley and David Stremme. Listen every Tuesday at 11 Eastern on mrn.com for more news, interviews, and opinion from dirt tracks all over America. Slingin Dirt is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.